I'd like to create a very simple coordinate system which I will call the north, south, east, and west coordinate system. Let's say I have a particle and I'd like to place it at the origin, which I will call point O, and I'd like to give my particle two displacements. The first one is 3 steps toward the east, and the second displacement is 5 steps toward the north. So I'd like to connect the initial position of the particle to its final position, which I will call point A. So from initial to final, I'd like to create a vector, which I will call F1. F1 is the vector that represents the two displacements of the particle, which were 3 steps toward the east and 5 steps toward the north. I'd like you to think of two very important entities each time we mention the word vector, which are magnitude and direction. F1 is the vector that represents the two displacements of the particle. It has magnitude and it has direction. Each displacement has magnitude and it has direction. Well, there is a very common system in engineering called the Cartesian coordinate system. So instead of thinking of these directions as north, south, east, and west, why don't we think of it in terms of x versus y, or more specifically, the positive x-axis is to the right of the origin in the horizontal direction, and of course negative x is to the left of the origin. Positive y is above the origin in the vertical direction, and of course negative y is below the origin. So let's write F1 one more time, but this time in the Cartesian coordinate system. It would be 3x plus 5y. If you'd like to think of this in 3D, there is the z-axis that points out of the page that goes through the origin, and since I did not give any displacement in the z direction, the magnitude associated with that direction would be 0. So 0, z, or more commonly written as 3i hat plus 5j hat plus 0k hat. In the Cartesian coordinate system, the x-axis is always associated with the letter I, the y-axis is always associated with the letter J, and the z-axis is always associated with the letter K. And one more time, I'd like you to notice that written in terms of the Cartesian coordinate system, each displacement has magnitude and it has direction.